Welcome to a really quick Sew It Pro tutorial. There have been a couple of questions that I've noted floating around out there, and we're going to address those with this particular design. Now, the one question that I don't believe I've seen anyone ask, but I'll point it out because it is different, it looks unusual, is the background of my design is black. The reason that the background is black is because I am doing this particular design on black fabric. So in order for me to see pretty much real time, somewhat, so to speak, how it's going to look on the black fabric, I decided to make my background in my design field black. How do you do that? Well, you go right up here to the top to this t-shirt. This is your background, this is your fabric, and when you click here, it says choose a fabric color or pattern. So here, what I decided to do was make mine black, and you can make it any color you want. You just go through the colors, figure out which one it is that you want, and you can change your background. Now that I've shown that, it's quite simple. We're going to reorder the stitch out. Okay, so with this, I have it where the paw embroiders first, then the number sign, the number, the name, even though that was out of order, the volleyball, and then the details of the volleyball. Now, the reason why I chose to reorder this, which on the 6th needle is no big deal whether you want to reorder it or not, because the machine automatically changes the colors for you. So I don't have to change the colors if I don't want. But in order to mentally deal with this and keep all of the like colors together to keep my machine from having to switch needles, then I'm putting them all in the same color. So here I have white, and that's the colors that all of this is going to stitch out, then the volleyball, then the details on top. All right, now let us go ahead and we're going to open up info icon view. Okay, now actually, before we open info icon view, let me delete this name, because this is not the name that I want. The name that I want down here is going to be Marshall. So let's take this off, and I could highlight that and just hit delete on my keyboard, but I'm doing it the hard way for right now. Now notice that those letters were white, and that's because I changed it to that color. So let's go into info icon view, and it's going to pull up this folder. I don't want that there, so I'm going to delete album folder. That's the folder it is, and take it out. Now, I'm going to point out two things really quickly before we put the name over here. The first thing I would like to point out, which involves another question that I've seen floating out there. This particular folder here, notice this is a font that's called Collegiate. And notice it says Collegiate 2-inch. Okay, then look down here, it has Collegiate, and this one says 1.5 inch. So it's helpful in order for you to know which size this is, if it's in its own respective size folder, and it keeps you from having to, you know, do some guesswork. Some embroidery font designers will set their fonts up that way, where the sizes is in their own folder, and you can be grateful to those because they've done the hard work for you. If you don't want to go through the struggle of making your own folders with the respective sizes in each folder, then what you can do is leave it as it is, like I did here. And in this particular one, this is called Times New Roman, and you know, it's kind of common sense if you look at it. So everything is in order, 0 to 9, A to Z, right? And in this particular folder, it's the capital, then the lower, capital, then the lower. Okay, self-explanatory. So if I click on this 0, we'll see how big the 0 is. So that's pretty big size. So we will assume that this would probably be a little bit smaller or a little bit larger. Let's click it and see. So this one is smaller. So if we follow the alphabet to the Z and we come down to the next size, then we know this one is going to progressively get smaller, so on and so forth. Another telltale sign that I like to use to be sure that I'm going smaller in theory is if you take a look here, notice how solid this lettering looks. This one period, this is a period here, okay? And if you go all the way up to the top, you'll see I'm sorry, that is the largest period because it's A through Z, numbers A through Z, and then the punctuations. So as we progressively go down, notice this period. See how you can see white lines in it now? That's because it's getting smaller, but the program is showing you the letters in the exact same sizes from the largest to the smallest. So notice it's getting fuzzier and fuzzier, but that's because these are the smaller letters. So your smaller letters are going to be, kind of fuzzy looking. So that's a good sign to let you know which letters are smaller, which ones are larger, and to help you figure out, how the letters and things are arranged in the folders. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to close this out so that I can delete this off because I don't want Times New Roman. I want the name Marshall. So I'm going to go back up here to the info icon view and I'm going to click that. And again, I'm going to delete this, and it keeps popping it up because that's a folder that I go in so often that it's showing up for me. Now we're going to spell out Marshall. So that's M. And I'm going to move it over so that I can make sure that it doesn't populate outside of my grid. M-A-R-S-H-A-L and then L. Now I'm going to adjust these really quickly. One moment. Select that. Bump that over, select that, bump that over, and I'm holding down Control and clicking the next letter so that all of the letters stay selected. Hold down Control, click the next one, let off of Control, hit the left button twice. Hold down Control, select the next letter, hit the next button twice after I let off Control. And that's how you select individuals but keep the whole group together. All right. And the centering was trash on that, so let me go back. All right, now that I have that somewhat centered, put it back up. Now let me close out info icon view because the name that I want is here. So I'm gonna close that out. Notice these are the new letters that were added. The color that I want them to be is white, but I'm not going to change the color on them just yet to allow me easier realization of where this is supposed to go, because like up here I know that this is the outline to the paw because it comes right after the royal blue. So this obviously is the number sign, which it is, and then this is the number 3, which it is. So this is the volleyball, number 5, and then number 6 is the highlight of the volleyball, which in the design that's a different color, so I made it the same color. All right, so this 9 I want to be after this number 3. All right, so one of two ways we can do that. We can hold down, select the first letter, hold down the Control key, and then we're going to pull this up. I'm sorry, not the Control key. Ooh, I was wrong. We're going to select the 9 color stop, then we're going to hold down your Shift key and drag it up to the number 5 because that's the number that I want this to go ahead of. And I'm gonna let go of the mouse. And notice it put it right after the number 3, and that's where I want it. So we're gonna grab number 10, I'm gonna highlight it, hold down the Shift key, click on it until you see that little square, which lets you know that you're about to move this, and drag it up. So I'm gonna drag it up and stop at number 6. And there it's right there at number 6. And we're going to do the same thing with this number 11. Click, select it, hold down shift, drag it up, bam, there we go. And now 12, hold down shift, drag it up, and let go of the mouse, and there we have number 8. Hold down, select 13, hold down shift, click, select 13, drag it up, let go of the mouse, and then let go of the shift, and there you have that. Now there's another way to reorder your steps. All right, let's check this other way. You can go up to edit and then order threads. That doesn't mean put in an order for threads. That means we're going to edit the order that these threads stitch out in. Now notice the old order is over here. The new order that you want is over here. So looking at this list, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All of this is where we want it to be. But we want 14 to be where 10 is, 15 to be where 11 is, and 16 to be where 12 is, and bump these to the bottom of the list. Well, you can do that here as well. So remember we said we wanted 14 to be where 10 is. So this is 10 and this is 14. So let's take 14 and we'll change that to a 10. Let's take this 15 because we want 15 to come after 10. So we're going to make that 11. And then 16 would be the next color. So we want to, next letter rather. So we want to make that a 12. All right, so we already have a 10 and 11 and a 12 here and a 13. So what that means is now that this is 12, then this is going to turn to 13. This is going to turn to 14. This one is going to turn to 15. And this one is going to turn to 16. And as you see over here in this list, we have 16 color stops. And we just made this one the last color stop, number 16. Now this one takes a little bit of memory and making sure you remember how your orders are, and you click OK. And notice now all of our colors are where we want them to be. So now I'll select 5, hold down my control key on my keyboard, then select 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Then down here where the color threads are, the thread palette, I'm going to scroll all the way down to white and select white because I want all of this to be white. And here, now I have the design exactly the way I want it to be. Now, if you are on a machine that does not cut its own threads, you can join these stitches to make it one color stop and then join these to make this another color stop. But on my machine, it doesn't matter because it's going to cut in between the threads anyway. So I'm going to leave this all exactly the way it is. And I'm going to hit save as, and I'm going to make this the next name in my sequence, and I'm going to hit save. And now my design is ready to go on my jump drive to put on my 6 needle machine. And speaking of machines, my machine just sang to me and told me that it was done. So that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did and you were learning something from it. Also, be sure to subscribe to our channel because we do offer quite a few videos that are quite helpful with Sew What Pro. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, or you can email me at thebabiesbooty@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching our video, and happy embroidering.